Okay. Okay, now why is it not turning? Okay, list 10 things you want to have this year. 10 new things you want to have. Could be a new car, could be a new used car, could be a new bicycle, new pair of shoes,
New golf club.
some 10 things that you want to have. They don't have to be in any priority. Okay, in 10 places you want to go. That does not mean go to Europe. That could, if you want to. Doesn't mean go to the Caribbean. It could be go to the museum that just reopened. Go see Denali. Go camping. Go to 10 places. 10 things that. So 10 things you want to do, 10 things you want to have, and 10 places you want to go. It could be just take a trip down to Seward, and you want to go to Seward and you want to see the Sea Life Center for the first time. Something like that, okay? So since you probably don't have 10 on there, that's your homework, okay?
Yeah, we'd like to see what you guys are thinking. And if you have been thinking about it, most of the time, we're so caught up in the day-to-day operations of what we do. One of the reasons that I liked this yesterday, and it feeds into this, the first thing that I did when I met Paul Palmer, and you guys don't know him, but he was one of the biggest developers. He did Sky Hills, Prominence Point, Golden View, yada, yada, yada. I befriended Paul, or he befriended me, and first thing he asked me is, where's your calendar? Come to my office with your calendar. And I walked in with my calendar. He said, no, not that calendar, next year's calendar. He said, bring a Sharpie too. Mark off every day that you're not going to work. Birthdays, holidays, vacations, get rid of those now. Mark them off. And if somebody calls you and asks you if you can help them, I'm booked that day, but I have these things available. Because most of us don't plan very well.
So when you're going into thinking about your plan for the year or for the month or even the day, but remember there's 24 hours in a day and only 168 hours in a week. Okay, most of us need about 7 hours a night to sleep, or at least to be in bed and rest and then go to sleep. Alarm goes off, Jonathan gets out of bed 7 hours later. But you want to have, you're taking say 50 hours right off the top of that. Okay, then you want to spend time with your family, or you want to go to the gym, or you go to church on Sundays. So all of those hours take away from the 168 hours that there's available in a week. And then you say, okay, I don't want to work one of those days at all. So that's 24 hours gone right off the top. Okay, so think of that when you're trying to, because this is part of business planning. We do have you break down how many hours a week you're going to work. Okay, so just think of that. Remember, 168 hours in a week. It is very short. Okay, so when you make a schedule, you want to base it on productivity. You don't want to just say, okay, I'm going to work from 9 to 5. What are you doing from 9 to 5? Do you have a schedule of what you're doing all day long? Or do you just think you do? Oh, I'm going to go and prospect. Bullshit. Okay, you're not. If you just say you're going to do that, if it's scheduled, you might do that. Okay, it takes a while to get the discipline to be able to do that every day and to follow your own schedule. Okay, so one thing when you're doing your schedules is schedule your most productive things at the most productive time of the day for you. Okay, everybody's a little bit different. Zach may not be able to prospect at 8 o'clock in the morning, but at 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock, he's on it. Solly may be completely different because you're a morning person. Okay, it just, everybody's different. So you know yourself and you schedule yourself based on productivity. Okay, and then everything that you do for production is based on your goals. Okay, so remember those 30 things that you were writing down just for a couple seconds? Those help you develop your goals, but they're not your goals. They give you ideas to think about what you can do to achieve it, okay? Or what it will take to achieve it. And then this is something that a lot of realtors, or actually the majority of them, do not do. They do not treat their business as if it were a real job. Okay? If you don't treat it as a job, what is it?
Hobby.
A hobby. It's a very expensive hobby that you're going to go broke in. Okay? You don't have the discipline to actually wake up in the morning and do your job, which is you're the CEO, the CFO, and the chief of operations for your company. Okay? You got to switch those hats. Those are your 3 jobs. Okay? You got to generate business, take care of the business, and take care of the money. You're an independent contractor. You own your own business. Okay?
Can
Okay,
I say
so
something about that real quick before you move on?
sure.
This is the primary difference, I think, that especially if those of you that are new at our company, this is the primary difference between the experience that you have here and the experience that I had when I started in this business. When I started in this business, I was a sales associate. No one discussed with me that they were going to help me set up and grow a business within their business. The difference here is our primary goal is to help you to understand that you're running a business within our business. We're going to help you to structure it. We're going to help you to profit with it. We're going to help you to understand that your functions, hardest function is what? Filling your pipeline. That's your CEO job, making it rain. The second function is the COO job, right? And that's what everybody's good at, doing the building inspection report and this and that until they don't have a deal. And then they're in a panic because they didn't do the CEO stuff. And the third is the CFO function, taking care of the money that you have. If you listen, especially if you go through Larry's business planning class, those things will never be a mystery to you, and you will proliferate in this business. Over time, you will be great. And you have a business with an exit plan so that when you're ready to be done, you have something to sell instead of just, I'm quitting real estate and all your hard work over the years just vaporizes. So we're going to help you structure it. We're going to help you have an exit plan, whether it's tomorrow, 5 years, or 30 years from now, and then you'll be able to sell an asset, which is your business. Good? All right.
Okay, so with the stuff that we talked about on the previous slide, schedule and productive activities, and make sure that everything is goal-based. From that, you need to determine how many days a year you're going to be working, okay? Because you can't work 365 days a year. And you could, but you're going to go crazy, okay? So on average, people work about 250 to 260 days a year, okay? And then something that I learned yesterday was you got to put in a fudge factor. So you're going to give yourself 10% of the days that you want to work as a pass. So when you write your calendar out and you have all your days up there, that it comes down to 260 days, you're down at the bottom, put down 26 days. Because one of those days you're going to wake up and say, I'm going fishing. And you take that day and you put it up there, there's my freebie. Now you got 25 more, okay? So if you end the year with a couple extra, that's great. You worked a little bit harder than you probably needed to, but maybe you needed to for a particular reason or whatnot, okay? But give yourself that break. And in the business planning class, that's called the act of self-forgiveness, okay? Because sometimes when you have your plan and activities out and you can't make all those calls or allocate all that time because your kid got sick or something, you got to be able to forgive yourself and move on and get back into the groove, okay? So have a precise schedule, or having a precise schedule can be every production problem. Okay, so if you don't have a schedule, you might not be able to produce because you're all over the place. Shiny object, you're chasing these things. You're spending too much time on non-important things, non-important business generating things. And they could be productive, but they're just not the right type of productivity. So with your schedule, you want 75% of your day earning money, okay? And 25% servicing the money servicing the money-making tasks, okay? So we'll talk about those in a second. So 75% of your day is to earn money, to do productive things to generate money, right? That's the CEO hat, okay? 25% of the rest of the day is spent wearing your COO and CFO hats, okay? So up on the board yesterday, I wrote plan. So everybody jot down plan. Okay, so Here's what plan stands for. You gotta plan things, production-based things, okay? Lead follow-up. That should have said production-based things instead of plan. Lead follow-up. So you are making phone calls, you're generating business, but you did a lot of that last week too. But somebody told me, hey, call me next week. So you got to follow up with those leads, because if you don't follow up, all you're doing is trying to generate new business and not maintaining what you've already established. So just remember, the first one is productive activities, lead generation stuff, and then follow up, and then set appointments for buyers and sellers. Okay. You should have those on your calendar that maybe you want to, in your goals, you say that you want to pick up 12 listings this year. Okay. And your conversion rate from a listing presentation to a listing is 50%. Okay. So you need at least 24 listing appointments. Okay. So you need to put on your schedule 2 a month, right? But maybe your listing conversion rate is much better than that, is 75%. Okay. So you need to schedule less, but maybe you schedule just as many and your productivity goes up. Okay. So as you get more proficient at this stuff, it becomes easier, but it fills your time more. Okay. And then money making is also negotiating the deals. After you write the contract, finalize counter offer, get the deal pending. Okay. So those are money making things. Okay. Servicing activities, coordinating the repairs. It should not take you all day long to schedule repairs. Okay. You call the HVAC inspector, you get the damn thing scheduled. That's 5 minutes. It should not take you an hour. Okay. Maybe talking with the seller or the buyer, whoever you're representing, takes a lot more than 5 minutes, because you have to review the repair or the inspection request. You got to write it up, but that's part of the negotiation. Okay. This is after you negotiated everything and getting things done. Okay. Hate to put this up there as a servicing thing, but your DTR rooms, okay, they should not take that long.
And if you do it as you go, it's not a big deal.
Yeah,
it's really a big deal when I call you at the last minute to tell you that you're missing signatures and documents and you're not getting paid.
And you can't find the document because you never sent it out, or you sent it out and it's, I don't know, in DTR world, or stuck in your DocuSign somewhere because your client signed it, but you never signed it, or vice versa or something. So remember, in DTR, and if you haven't been in DTR yet, there's task lists and there's red boxes. Those need to be filled as you go, so you're not trying to do it at the end, at the last second. Okay, just another money service thing would be scheduling inspections. Just things like that. They're going to take time, right? But they should not consume your time. Okay, the things that consume your time should generate money, and then you need to maintain that stuff, maintain those activities by servicing those activities, right? Okay, so we talked about one distractor. Okay, what are other common distractors that you have? Just speak up. Zoomland or in the room, speak up of distractor.
To people, talking to people.
Okay. Try working from home. Okay. Even if you're alone at home, well, I can do the dishes. I can go do a load of laundry. I can turn on the news because, gosh, there's something happening in the world today. Okay. Or I can watch a cooking show, or I can take the dog for a walk. There's all these distractors at home, right? Now, some people are very efficient at working at home because they have a different mindset than most. But most people need to detach from their personal life to be efficient at work. Okay. So just keep that in mind, that kids are a distractor. Sorry, love my kids, but man, they drive me crazy. Okay. So the dogs that I have, well, my kids have, are distractors. Okay. Even my wife's a distractor when I'm trying to work. Okay. But I don't want to eliminate her. But the way that you eliminate things is you go to the office. Maybe you have to sit in the conference room for quiet time, do your things, but eliminate the distractors so that you can be more productive. Okay?
So the interesting thing too about the distractors and people in your life that may have a job, they don't consider this your job. You have a flexible schedule. You can take my call whenever. You can be whenever. How come you're not over here now? They don't understand. This is a job. It's more than a job. It's a business that we run, right? So just remember that sometimes it's important, not sometimes, always, but do it up front. Establish those barriers. Hey, I'll call you right back. I'm working right now. Because they assume that since we're independent contractors, we can respond whenever, wherever. Hey, go pick up that stuff across town because I know you have time. Right?
What else can be a distractor? In the office here. You come in the office 9 o'clock every morning and you bullshit for the first hour. You just wasted an hour of your time. You could have said hi and let's have lunch later and let me get to work. Okay? Maybe 5 minutes, friendly conversation, whatever, but don't dwell for an hour wasting everybody's time. Well, not everybody's, just between yours and whoever you're talking to for an hour. Okay? Now, granted, you can sit across the table from each other and chit chat back and forth as you're doing something, but you're not as productive. Okay? So just keep that in mind that sometimes we're our biggest distraction because we find ways to do things that are easier and not what we're supposed to be doing. Okay? So we all know we're supposed to do X, Y, and Z every day, and we end up doing A, B, and C, and then maybe have time for X, Y, and Z, right? Because we're social people. You wouldn't be in this field if you weren't. Okay, one thing that a lot of very successful people have found, if they work less, they're actually more effective. Think of the person that works 365 days a year. They get burnt out and they crash. Think of someone that works 250 days a year and has those 10% days of goof off days in there, okay? They learn to be more proficient at what they do, more effective at managing their time, or not really managing their time, because I still feel that time management is just a false concept, because you're managing your priorities, okay? Your priorities are to generate business. Now, if it takes you an hour to generate business, or it takes you 4 hours to generate business, that's still your number one priority. You're just more effective at it if you're doing it in 1 hour, okay? So limit the amount of time you work to become more effective, okay? Get better at what you do, okay? So one concept that they brought up yesterday was do the most productive thing you do for 30 minutes every hour. So sit in there, say you're 75% of your day is the first 4 hours because you're only working 6 hours a day. Well, that'd be actually 30 or 66%. Okay, so the first 6 hours, you're working 8 hours, okay? So if you're really good at making phone calls to past clients and generating business, do you think you're gonna be effective at doing that for 4 to 6 hours straight? Or if you make 2 phone calls, 2 15-minute phone calls, remember, if you're making the phone call, you control the call. You can hang up on them at any time, okay? If somebody calls you, you answer. You really need to wait for them to end the call.
Especially when you got a problem.
Yeah.
An outgoing call takes 2 minutes, an incoming call takes 20.
So make your calls, get effective at making your calls, and move on to something else, because maybe you got to make your calls, but you still have a deadline of getting repairs negotiated or getting something scheduled. So you make your call, set 2 appointments, then call up the plumber and say, hey, can you go take care of the furnace for us? Okay. Those are things that you do in the way you do it. But remember, if you're really good at something, try to get it done. Okay. And then take a break. Maybe it's, you want to go spend 5 minutes catching up on golf. Okay. Or 5 minutes talking about who got hit in the throat with a hockey puck last night. Okay. But remember, do productive activities, give yourself a little break, and then get back into it, okay? And don't dwell on the little things that are driving you crazy all day long, because you're not going to get anything done. Okay, so things to do for those 30 minutes, like I said, follow up on leads, past clients. You can even update your database. Okay, maybe you're really good at maintaining your database after the fact. Because when you're making those phone calls, you're not logging them as you're doing it, but you know, hey, last night I talked to 3 people, so I need to update this database. I met a new client, I need to add them to the database and send them a welcome email. That's stuff that generates business, okay? So maybe that's something that you do 30 minutes every hour is, okay, I'm gonna update my database and I'm gonna send out or handwrite 3 notes to people. Hey, thanks for the referral. Hey, here's your market summary report. And there's scripts for everything all over the place that we've shared with everybody. And if you need them again, we got more, okay? Okay, so this is something that you might want to consider doing to see how effective you are actually managing your priorities and time. Is keep track of your time hour by hour for the next week. Okay, then with that, and say you only want to work 6 hours a day. That's your business. I mean, it's not like mind your own business, but it's your business. Okay, you guys are independent contractors. Okay, so if you only want to work 6 hours a week, a day, figure out how you're using that time. Hold on a second. Is 75% of that time used to generate business, or 75% of that time used just to service things? Okay. Yes, Melissa.
So Stuart, day planners
Mhm.
have an hour breakdown for 20.
There's a pile of them somewhere around here. Yeah. So whether it's in a calendar or on your phone or in an Excel spreadsheet, just try to keep track of your time from today until next week. And then we'll share it. If anybody wants to share it, how productive you were in using your time. Okay. Because for me, this is productive for me to help you guys. Okay. So this may not be a production thing for you. It may be a service thing for you, but it's also helping you think differently. Okay. So maybe this hour class or our sales meeting is 50% production and 50% servicing for you. You need to figure that out for yourself on how well you maintain this stuff and actually what you do with this information. Because these are just ideas. We're not telling you how to do things. These are just ideas that have worked for thousands of the top brokers and realtors nationwide. Okay.
You guys remember that we went on our tour, right? We went on our brokerage tour to Florida and South Carolina and Georgia. The reason we're doing that is so that we can help you sharpen your sword. We're meeting with the best operators in the nation. And we're doing a lot right, but we're going to meet with people that are much better than us constantly so that we can bring more to the table for you. And it was instructive for us to see some of the differences they were doing, but that's why you see what you see. We're going to get better too.
So back to before we started the slides, I said the 12-month calendar. Okay. So you could make that public. Okay. And I mean public, like put it in so everybody in your house can see it, because sharing your calendar with somebody, they understand what you're doing then. As opposed to, I went to work today. Great. My wife went to work today. What does she do? Well, she saved lives. I don't know what the hell else she does. Okay. Did she have to weigh somebody? I don't know. I don't care. Okay. But when I come home and they ask me, how was your day? And I say, well, it was pretty good. Well, what did you do? Well, and I can say, well, I did X, Y, and Z. And they have no idea what the hell that means. Okay. Because they're not in our industry. Right. But if I share with them that, hey, say I was still a sales associate, the first 2 hours or 3 hours or 30 minutes of every hour, I'm going to allocate time to generate business. So they know, okay, so for the first 30 minutes of every hour, I can't talk to daddy. He's not going to answer the phone. You have to, and by publicizing your calendar with them, your schedule with them, they'll get to understand that and they'll respect your bounds more, because I know my wife has a different understanding of my job than what it really is. Okay. Because when my wife is at work, she cannot answer her cell phone. She's in emergency medicine. She can't say, oh, let me stop compressions and pick up the phone and talk to me. But she thinks that we can, because we're realtors. We can do whatever the hell we want all day long, because we do nothing but put our feet up and talk to people.
Drink coffee and collect checks.
Yeah. So make it relevant to them so that they understand what you're doing. Okay. And then they can help you hold yourself accountable, because you can write this out all you want, but if you don't follow it and you don't have somebody helping you follow it, it's worthless. Okay. So even if it's somebody else at the table, somebody else outside of this industry, it's like when I was in the military, I had 2 mentors. One was an infantry command sergeant major who used to be a platoon sergeant of mine when I was this forward observer. So this went on for 20 years. He was my mentor, even after he retired. And then I got a mentor within my career field too. So I had two different mentors, but they held me accountable to the goals that I set out in the military. Okay, one was technical, one was tactical. So if you have somebody to hold you accountable, it makes you holding yourself more accountable easier. Okay, and it's not because you don't want to let them down. It's because they're going to say, "Hey, you just screwed yourself. You didn't do this. You didn't achieve your goal." Like in some of the counseling sessions we do with coaching, which kid are you not taking on vacation? Okay, who's going to tell them that? Oh, you can't go this year, huh? We're all going. Okay, so think of that. Have somebody help you. If you can't keep yourself accountable, because most of us can't, find somebody that can, or not necessarily can, but you want them to help you. Okay,
And who will? Who won't just piss on your leg and tell you it's raining? You need to have somebody that can hold you accountable. But the other thing is, this journey begins with a single step, right? But you have to be committed to it. We're committed to you. And one of the things that's very important, especially to you guys in Zoom land, is that the people that are here for a specific reason. When we have the meetings that we have, we always said that it's about a fit. It's a two-way street. You had to decide whether you fit with us, but we had to decide whether you fit into our organization, whether you were coachable, malleable, and persons that would take the information and build a strong business. The strength of our business depends on you guys. We have to help you get there, but you have to be willing to go there. Does that make sense? And so we will give you everything that we have, and we will match effort for effort. So, my dad used to always tell me I'm from Missouri. Anybody know what that means? Show me. Show me. I'm from Missouri. Now, I'm not from Missouri, but I'm one generation removed, so I can say it. Show me, right? And we'll match effort for effort all day, every day.
and I'm going to show you guys two more slides. Okay, because we got about 4 minutes till the next meeting that we got to jump in. Okay, so one of the biggest problems with your time management problems is not having strong personal goals. Because if you just have non-emotionally attached goals, you're never going to achieve them. Or it's not going to mean anything when you achieve them. Or it's not going to mean anything when you don't achieve them. Okay, so when you set goals, put an emotional attachment to it. Okay, we're going to talk about that more next month when we do the business building. But just think of that, not having strong personal goals causes time management problems. Okay, focus on personal motivation for better time management. So having those personal goals, having a personal attachment to those, it means a lot. It makes you move forward more effectively, right? Think about what motivates you and what causes you to be complacent. One of the questions yesterday was, or not a question, but it was an issue that somebody brought up. I find myself getting complacent once I meet a couple of my goals because I see the money in my bank. Oh, I don't need to work that hard because I got $30,000 sitting in my bank. Well, shit, it's April. Right. You have what? How many more months? 8 more months to go. So you better stay motivated and not be complacent. Maybe you do something with that money. Maybe you just put it in a money market account. Maybe you put it away for retirement or something. Maybe you do something with that, but try to figure out what makes you complacent and eliminate that. Okay. Okay. So this is the last slide. Your schedule is a working document. Sorry. Be flexible. Okay. Just because you make a year calendar, you block off a couple of days, maybe something shifts, and maybe like my wife can't get vacation in July, so we got to shift that 1 week vacation from July to August. So be flexible with that. Okay, so it might be smart to laminate your calendar, and you don't use Sharpies, use dry erase markers because things do move. Okay, it goes back to the art of self-forgiveness. Be flexible with yourself and your calendar. Okay, but not so flexible that it's meaningless. Okay, once again, there's only 168 hours in a week. Use your time wisely. Okay, and here's your homework, okay, to help you with your business planning for next month.
I will tell you this, that everyone that I've seen that have gone through Larry's business planning class and have adapted and discussed and on purpose made a plan that made sense, their business has moved tremendously forward. Trust the fact that you've got some very good coaching here and utilize it. we're gonna help you build a business because our business depends on you, right? So I know that, I learned a lot yesterday, even though having gone through various training and taught it. We're gonna engage in a different level. We're engaging as owners and brokers, and we're going to be with all the top 20 operators in the country in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Right?
The 2nd of May.
2nd of May,
Yeah.
something like that. So in 3 weeks, we're gonna be there.
And it's not just Century 21.
Yeah, we're dedicated to being the best that we can be. If you guys will adopt and gravitate to that, we'll give everything we have.
Okay, with that, we're kind of out of time because we're pushed up against another meeting. So if you guys have questions or you want to see this later, it has been recorded and I can share this with you. Also, I can email out the slide deck if you guys want it. These are just some ideas that we took from the class yesterday. It's not everything and nothing's set in stone in it. It's just a good idea to help you try to manage your time and your priorities a little bit better. Okay, so thank you guys. And remember, you have homework, keep track of your hours, and let's talk about them next week. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.